This week on Love 'em and Lead 'em.
Go back to, is your dog rehomable? So if your dog has an extensive bite history, if you're honest about that, which you should be because it could, kill or injure someone.
Yep.
Then a rescue will most likely decline to take the dog into the rescue because it's not safe for humans. So it goes back and circles back around, and it's still your problem, even if you have to make a really difficult decision.
Hi, I'm Melanie.
And I'm Corey.
And welcome to Love 'em and Lead 'em.
Lessons and laughs with the ladies of Dog Training Camp USA.
In this podcast, you'll take away proven and practical dog training advice with plenty of stories and laughs along the way.
Join us as we share our experience from the kennel and from life.
With that, let's sniff our way into this episode. So, Matt, I was going through that episode that we did. It's been a couple of weeks ago about not talking to your dog too much.
Oh, it was last time. Doing the hard things.
The hardest thing we asked people to do. And I had completely forgotten the story that you're going to love.
So wait, the hardest, if people didn't listen.
Oh, yeah.
To the previous
We were talking
episode.
about the hardest thing we ask people to do is not talk to their dogs all the time.
Yeah.
And we gave lots of examples of why it's bad for them and the problems it causes and everything. And it reminded me of this story of when I was a very new mother and my daughter was had just turned 2. I took a really nasty fall out my back steps and fractured my tailbone really bad. And, thank God my mother rushed down to Kentucky from Illinois.
You were in bad shape.
I was in really bad shape. I couldn't move.
And you definitely couldn't pick up a 2-year-old.
For a couple of days. Yeah. So my mother rushed down to Kentucky, and helped me with my daughter for a couple of weeks. And up until that point, my parenting had just been, anybody that knows me, I didn't grow up around small children.
You didn't babysit?
I didn't babysit. I didn't have family members that had babies or had babies around, literally just winging it. Just all the time.
What to do.
No clue. You were my main source of information. My mother, when one of you was annoyed at me, I'd call the other one and be like, what do I do? She made this noise, whatever. Her poop is this color, So up until this point, she's 2 and I've kept her alive.
Yeah. So great job. Kudos for that.
At this point when this fall happened, so I'm feeling pretty good at my ability to keep her alive. Anyways, but she's reaching those developmental milestones and I don't necessarily always know what's normal or not normal. So my mom stayed with me for a week and, cooked and cleaned and took her to school for me while I was healing. And, the week my mom left and we kind of got back into our normal routine, Diana was talking and saying all of these words that I had not said to her and didn't know where she would have heard them. And not in a bad way, but just all of a sudden went from maybe she could say 20 words to sentences and conversations, if what felt like overnight. And I realized that all these years, lecturing people of what to do with their puppies,
Stop talking to your dog.
Stop talking to your dog. If it's doing behavior that is manipulative or is a tantrum or they're not getting what they want, right? There's similarities to human toddlers all the time. We tell people, and it really helps people kind of understand and make sense of the crappy things their puppies are doing. But I was treating her so much like a dog and not talking to her that she was not learning how to talk normally.
Yeah.
because of how much time she spent with me not talking to her.
And you didn't realize it until
Yeah.
well, and I wasn't seeing her every day. And so like
right then.
yeah. And so you didn't realize it until your mom left, and then you have a fully speaking child.
Literally, I was like, damn it. I was
But
hoping.
the whole time your mom was there, what was she doing?
Well, okay, so it was actually ready to make me actually insane. She was like narrating every single thing. Okay, we're getting the milk out. Let's put our socks on, tying our shoes. I mean, literally just like la 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 la. I was like, I am gonna die.
She's in
right?
the bath. Now I'm gonna get the soap. Here's
Literally.
the soap. It's a pink bottle.
Yes, that's what she did for a whole week. And then my kid talked, and I was like, oh, great. I get to just argue with the tiny version of myself now. And that's kind of when, I started getting like the three-nager type of behavior out of her, right? When she learned how to talk. So we were laughing about how I almost made my kid mute because of how much I don't talk. And
that's how hard you've conditioned yourself.
Yeah.
Not to like just ambient talking all the time.
Well, and I think we were laughing too, because I was like, it's really not even in my nature to speak or communicate. Matt's feeling that. If there's some, like, if I'm not sure if I should say something, I'm the type of person that I won't say it. Whereas like you are very the opposite of that.
Because we're the same, but very different.
So,
It's definitely not in my nature not to talk. And it's also not in my nature that if something comes in my mind to not say
to just
it.
blurt it out. Yeah.
I mean, I will just bleh.
Yeah, I know. So,
So developmentally, you almost stunted your child.
She could have been mute.
Breaking your butt saved your daughter's vocabulary.
You know what? You're right.
Yep.
That's a crazy story.
The old broke butt Melanie.
She almost didn't learn how to talk because I was treating her like a puppy. Yeah, if she was like, Mom, I want milk, and asked me 2 or 3 times, by that point, I'm just not even engaging with her, whereas I think like maybe some people without that history would be like, no, I already told you, you can't have the milk, you can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah.
And I would just be like, okay. And she'd eventually quit asking me for stuff because when what you're doing isn't working,
yeah, you do something else.
You do a different behavior.
So just to make sure that we're clear, do talk to human children. Do speak to human children.
That
it helps them develop.
Is a tip from a teacher
their
too.
Speech,
a former teacher,
and language and cognition in general. And do not talk too much to puppies.
Yeah.
Or dogs in general.
It's true. It's
so
true. When you
listen, people, we give this advice. We have deeply tested this in real world scenarios.
Our own children.
Do talk to children. Do not talk to dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great one.
If you talk too much to your dog, you might be in a situation where you have to rehome it. And fortunately or unfortunately for some humans, you can't rehome the 2-legged.
That's
children.
true. You have to figure out a solution to the problem with a 2-legged creature. But a 4-legged creature, sometimes people just think, well, I'll just rehome them.
Apparently, we'll just pass them on around.
We'll just call dog training camp and see if we can rehome them.
Take one down, pass them around. 99 pit bulls up on the wall. They all be trying to bite me.
What a great segue that was. So, yeah, we want to talk about rehoming because, we've had some doozies lately. So
it seems as though sometimes when we have like a subject like this come up where we're like, oh my gosh, we got to talk about this because it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
We have like, I feel like it's like a sign, like we gotta
that we need to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So we're going to talk about appropriate times to rehome a dog, not appropriate times to rehome a dog, what you can rehome a dog for, your rehoming options.
Yeah.
And honestly, hopefully you'll just quit calling me about this.
And I would like to take this time to tell everyone that we do not help in the rehoming process. We will help with training to keep the dog in its current home.
That
We
is
do not find new owners for dogs.
I was going to say, if you call us, you're going to get tips on how to keep your dog in your house. You're not going to get tips on
Right.
how to rehome a dog.
Correct.
Because quite honestly, this is why this is such a frustrating topic. You really can't rehome your dogs, people. You just can't.
Well, so you can, but there's some ethics around this, right? You know, we are of the mindset that when you get an animal, that animal is your responsibility. That animal's care, that animal's behavior, you know, all of those things are your responsibility. Now, does that mean that it's just goes great all the time? No, things get hard. But when it's your responsibility, it's also your responsibility to figure out the hard.
Yeah.
And to make adjustments. When you bring another living creature into your home, there are going to have to be some adjustments that are made so that everyone can be successful. So, you know, I want people to think of that before they even get a dog. But, you know, fast forward, we start seeing behaviors that are challenging. Maybe biting, any number of things can't be contained. Like, there are a lot of behaviors that are very challenging for people. And what we see a lot is that people think, oh, well, it'll get better. And instead of addressing it at the beginning of when the challenge starts, they let it go 2 or 3 years, and then they have a very big problem. And when that problem gets very, very big, it's a lot of times not appropriate to even try to rehome the dog, because really what that's doing is setting the dog up for failure and setting another family up for failure. So it's very, and sometimes danger. So it's very
danger
frustrating.
with a capital D.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. So let's first, before we tell the stories of the 2 recent rehoming situations, let's say when it might be appropriate to rehome a dog.
I would say, you know, most successful rehoming situations we see are typically private adoptions.
Yeah.
Where, you know, a life circumstance has happened and, you know, it's an unavoidable, an illness, a relocation, you know, a death, those types of things, you know, where a dog will suffer if the situation doesn't change, which usually they're suffering anyways. But, you know, we got to kind of look at what levels of suffering we're going to put them through. Right. So, those are the highest success rates we see. Is like, I know a friend that like either has a history with the dog, or the dog is familiar with them, or, you know, their need, the person can meet the dog's needs. That is a good test.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I feel like that is the most successful thing. But the other thing about that is we're rehoming a dog because maybe the dog is not thriving in a situation or a life change. Like a person gets cancer and physically can't take care of the dog, or there's job loss and rehab, or, you know, some sort of situation like that. But that is like the human's situation has changed and the dog will suffer. It's very different from behaviors are hard and bad and we want to get rid of the dog. It's 2 very, very, very different things.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, all of that rehoming that you just described, that's all considering that the dog is not biting people. The dog is, you know, we've got a relatively stable dog that's happy and can be assimilated into a new living situation with a minimal amount of stress and disruption.
What I was just getting ready to say, that situation I just described is probably about 10% of rehomings.
I don't even know if it's 10% based on, I know they're calling me because of behavior. So I don't hear always the other kind, but so we fully support that. We want the dog to be successful. We want the human to be successful. So we fully support rehoming that's done ethically, and that things have been tried before, you know, the dog is rehomed. Then there are the cases where it's completely inappropriate to rehome a dog. So one such case I got a call about yesterday, and the dog I'm not even going to say the breed. The dog has been used as a stud in a breeding operation. The dog is 11, and the call was he's never liked any other dogs, but he was okay with his sister and daughter or something like that. So there were 2 female dogs that the dog could be around.
But because it was a breeding kind of operation, he had a history of not getting along with a large, he always had other dogs around. Because
he's always disliked and tried to attack other dogs, she said.
Yeah.
So now suddenly in the last,
that's the kind of trait I would just die to have in my house.
I wish more breeders would specifically breed for dog-on-dog aggression.
Oh,
in
gosh.
fact.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. So it's always disliked other dogs, but it got along with these 2. So she was able to put them in the pen together. And now it's decided that it doesn't like these 2 females either, sending one to the vet with a $250 vet bill, which I didn't say this, but lady, you got off cheap.
Can I get the number to your vet, please?
You need to say thank you to that dog that was only $250. So her call was asking if we could train it out of the dog, or she was going to have to rehome it, she said. And this dog is 11 years old and has acted like this its entire life. But now that it's become a problem for her and cost her money, she wants to rehome it. And that just about sent me right over the edge. Because it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
So we talked out, number 1, we are not going to be able to train that out of a dog that's been doing the same behavior for 11 years and it's been completely unchecked.
Yeah.
And number 2, the dog is also 11. So, I mean, it's towards the end of the dog's life. So I said that I felt like it could be easily managed if she put it in a different pen. I mean, there are management things that she could do to let that dog happily live out its life in its familiar environment.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it's less than ideal to have to keep a dog separate from the rest of the pack. It's stressful on the whole pack. It's stressful on the dog. But when we're looking at our very limited options in the rehoming landscape, that should be the first solution
is management.
And if you call us, that's what we're going to tell you.
Well, if human safety is, if humans are able to manage the situation safely, that's what should be done.
Yeah.
In our opinion. Then of course training, but when we're looking at an 11-year-old dog that's done this its whole life with no human intervention, I mean, the training would be more stressful on it.
Oh,
so
for
then
sure.
we get to rehoming, and she did mention euthanasia, and I said, honestly, for the situation and what you're describing for the dog, I feel like euthanasia is more humane rather than pulling a dog that's lived in the same place its whole life and knows nothing else at that age and putting it in a new home.
Who clearly doesn't deal with stress well to begin with if he's attacking everybody.
Correct.
Yeah.
And how he would be confused and distraught, and how I felt like his behaviors could possibly worsen, especially
guaranteed
in another home. It couldn't be a home with any other animals. Or if it was, then the people would have to be very strong handlers. And so I said, to me, that is more stressful than euthanasia.
Yeah. Or there's a farm you could probably go to.
Oh, the farm. I want to say that we've talked about this magical farm before, but maybe it's probably way deep in the archives.
I want you to send to sometimes you're going to threaten to send me to the farm.
I will send you to the farm. Euthanasia or farm. Those are your 2 options. I'm tired of managing you.
Yeah.
Mel, tell us about the magical farm. The rehoming farm.
If you've not heard, there's a place where you can send your dog, because if he just had a little bit more room to run, he surely wouldn't act like this.
Yeah, he'd be fine.
On a farm.
And he'd be happier.
On a farm.
On a farm.
With somebody who has a farm.
Which is anybody but you.
Correct.
Anybody but the person that should be walking.
So I don't know where this idea came from. I don't personally really know any farmers, but if I was a farmer, I wouldn't take your 11-year-old dog that is going to attack all my other dogs that are probably working on my farm.
Yeah, there's no farm guys. These are not easy things that are happening, but it doesn't matter if it's easy or hard. If it's your dog, it's your responsibility.
Yeah. So that's just an example of something we hear a lot where, I mean, in the interest of debunking things that are just not true of the dog training and animal care landscape industry, I will put this out there. There's no fucking farm. Okay.
No, there's no farm.
There's no farm.
It's made up in your mind to make you feel better that something else that you're not able to provide would fix the problem. And that is literally just not accurate.
Yeah. So, happy to educate anybody on that. The other thing that we have is we have great rescues of people who donate their time and their resources to helping facilitate these rehomings, where they might have a list of potential adopters, a list of foster homes, to dogs that are displaced.
Correct.
In some of the situations. So like that would probably be like our other kind of route, right? Because at least there's some sort of vetting being done on the rescue's behalf if you don't know anybody who's going to take your dog that's attacking everybody.
So the availability of that varies, but it's very, very limited regardless of what the organization is. And again, we go back to, is your dog rehomable? So if your dog has an extensive bite history, if you're honest about that, which you should be because it could, kill or injure someone.
Yep.
Then a rescue will most likely decline to take the dog into the rescue because it's not safe for humans. So it goes back and circles back around, and it's still your problem, even if you have to make a really difficult decision.
Yeah. Tell what the response was when you shared with this person that you thought that euthanasia would be the most humane option rather than subject this kind of senior dog to the transitional stress of a rehome. Tell her what her reply was. Tell us what her reply was.
This was actually really upsetting to actually both of us. So I said that, and she paused, and she said, "Oh, I never really thought about what it would be like for him or what he would think of it."
Yeah.
And that was really upsetting, honestly.
Well, and I think why I'm like, I want to share that is because that's at the heart of all of these rehoming issues, in my opinion, is we're not even considering the dog or its needs or its training or its personality.
No, the only thing being considered is the inconvenience or the problem that it is for the human.
I have this problem and I got to make it somebody else's problem and I need a quick fix.
I need it gone or I need to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Instead of that this is an autonomous creature that will suffer or is suffering. And we had a hard time with that. So I wanted to talk about this. So I'm glad,
and the other, so obviously like behaviors that like we kind of believe will not make your dog eligible to be rehomed is any sort of aggression to other dogs or to humans. Again, because in the landscape where we have a problem of an overpopulation of dogs, you're going to be hard pressed to find the home where the other thing we hear that's adjacent to the farm is, I just need to find somebody without kids that can take a dog, or I just need to find a home that there's no other animals. Well,
that's a hard thing to find.
We have an overpopulation problem here where we live, and it's not as bad as some other places, but it's pretty bad. And
and the people that are willing to take on animals that need homes, already they're like us, where we have 4 cats and 2 dogs and we're loaded up. So I can't add an animal that is completely unstable or aggressive into a pack like that.
Yeah. So it's really just the biggest shit show ever. But the other thing, those those were kind of two things, the dog on dog aggression and then the human on dog on human aggression. We were talking about, we had another call this week of two dogs that were kind of ganging up on, you know, people that were coming into these people's houses and just acting kind of scary. Like they hadn't bit anybody. It hadn't escalated because the people were kind of managing it the best they knew how. And they were like, we're going to have to get this under control or we're going to have to rehome them. So we were like, all right, well, let's just take a look at them before we because there was two dogs and we weren't really sure which dog needed what, kind of how much training each needed. So we had them come in, took a look at these dogs, and they want nothing to do with me and Corey. And
but per every consult, again, we practice what we preach and we ignore every dog that comes in until it gets the lay of the land and it's comfortable and it is initiating.
Usually it comes to
contact with us. We're not coming in on dogs. We're not even making eye contact with them.
Yeah. So, and it's not uncommon for scared dogs to get into our lobby and never interact with us or come up to us or anything. So it's not like an immediate, like they didn't come up to us, so they're killers. It was what happened when they didn't come up to us, and then they kept putting themselves in between us and the humans, stiffening up, staring at us, even though we weren't engaging with them, and then proceeding to bark really nasty in our faces.
Yes.
So
that person talked about rehoming that dog that was completely not interacted with at all by us and was lunging and growling and barking in my face. And
well, I just liked what you said, how you kind of put it was very simple. Like, look, if your dog can't do a meet and greet with potential adopters,
it's how are you going to rehome
it?
Like,
who is going to take this dog that's growling and snarling and lunging?
So that, again, the dog's behavior is the problem for the humans.
Yeah.
And it can definitely be worked on, but it's an investment of time, money. You know, you have to try to understand.
Well, and that's the thing, like back to what you were saying before, like by the time this has gone on long enough, I think these people were having this specific problem with two adult dogs for about 1 year. Like this had all been they had one of the dogs for a year, and this had all been kind of brewing, right? Until they were finally like, we got to get training. And now they've got two of them. So it's double the training. Mm-hmm. It's double the investment. It's double the freaking time investment. And we're having to have this conversation with people, and it's like, you rehome or you spend all this time and money on training on a dog that could still choose to give you the middle finger when it's time to listen. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
But at the root of it, they have to deal with it. Like, I don't know. It's so frustrating, guys. It's the dog. I think we could definitely help the dog. We talked that through a little bit. It is expensive. But just the option of just passing off your problem onto somebody else because it's too expensive or because you don't think you can, you don't know what to do, is just not acceptable. It's a complete lack of respect for the life of the dog. It's really disturbing. And again, they actually made a call to a rescue to try to rehome the dog. And when they described the dog's behavior, the trainer at the rescue was calling them back to talk about what options they had done, before rehome. So when you're encountering these rescues aren't just blindly taking dogs. Did you try this? Have you done this? Yeah, they're trying to enforce people to do their due diligence and try to fix the problem.
Yeah. A lot of them won't even take your dog unless you say, yeah, I've done training or I've done meds with my vet. Like, you have to, like, the rescues are extremely limited on what they can do for you. Yeah. Like, you calling them and having somebody come pick up your dog the next day is just not going to happen.
No. So it's a challenging part of our job. And it's a frustrating part. And I would say that we can probably speak for rescues and animal control and everybody in this landscape of, what do you do when you have a problem? But but again, it's your problem. So you have to figure it out. So whether it's, you know, a rehome, if it's appropriate. I'm not even saying you can't rehome a dog that has a bite history, because you can.
Yeah.
But it just, you need to be able to say, what did we do to try to correct this? What are, you know, what the person has to have full disclosure that's taking the dog into a home. So
Yep.
it gets complicated. It's not easy. It's not quick. They're hard decisions, but absolutely what is best for the dog needs to be considered in these conversations, and not just, this is a problem for me in my house and I need to get rid of the problem.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah. It's so tough. It's so tough to be in the situation where you've kind of made the decision that your dog isn't thriving in your environment. I know things kind of get away from people, and life is crazy and life is busy, and your dog is, for a lot of families, I'm not under any kind of impression that your dog doesn't go on the back burner, right? When life gets messy and crazy,
Yeah, we know.
and stupid, right? And I think, maybe the difference with how we look at our relationship with our dog is like they're kind of along on the ride with us, not like they're this thing that lives in my house and I occasionally enjoy its companionship, like, I don't know. Like, it never once have I been like, this dog can't live with me anymore. Like,
well, if it couldn't live with you, it would be a behavior so dangerous that we would probably...
It was dangerous to us.
Correct.
Yeah.
Human. Yeah. So I don't know. I fully support people that need to rehome their dog. We have a lot of military clients. We have elderly people. We have people that have kids that have disabilities. I mean, there are very good reasons. We are not shaming anyone for looking at that as an option. But I think we really need to have conversations around when is it appropriate and when is it not. And that there are a lot of things that we can do training wise, management wise, education wise. Sometimes these issues are just a matter of you're not communicating with your dog the way you think you are. And so some fixes to problems that are a giant headache to pet owners can be so simple.
Yeah.
And it can be fixed before it gets completely out of control.
Absolutely.
And we don't even get into this situation.
Yeah. And like, we feel the level of desperation when somebody calls us and says, if I can't get this under control, I've got to rehome them. Like, we always share that with our staff, and we kind of say, like, hey, here's the situation on what's coming in. Here's the home life. Here's what we're working on. Here's the variables we need to plan for.
Here are the stakes. Like, we're the last hope or whatever.
Yes.
And we don't like being in those situations, but again, we're trying to keep dogs in their homes.
Yeah, but we still take it very seriously. So, because it is, I think when people don't know what to do, that's, if I didn't know anything, my brain would probably go there too. But we gotta do better. We gotta, at a minimum, just consider how the dog would feel, like, at a minimum.
The pause, though. She just paused for a real long second, and she was like, I never even thought of that. And this is a lady that dogs were her life.
Right.
She was breeding them.
Well, that's what we talk about all the time. It's like, I don't think these people don't love their dogs.
No,
like,
I think she loves them.
I just don't know if they quite understand. I don't know. We were just talking about this.
I don't get it either. It's like the difference between a dog as an accessory. Like, I like them. They're fun. I like them when they're there.
Yeah.
And when, we want to snuggle, but they don't see them as autonomous creatures that are like adding to the family type thing. I don't know how to describe it. So if somebody has a better idea, let us know.
Or maybe it's like you get a dog based on like a need versus like how a dog looks, like, right? Like, so when I adopted my stupid little hound mix, right? Like at the time I was pretty active, I was running, I was in the military, right? So like I didn't really know what I was doing. Don't feel like I was like 20 when I got her, right? Or maybe 21. But she had really long legs and she's a fairly athletic dog. And I mean, thank God it worked out that we were a good fit for each other and she was active with me. But maybe that's the difference, like choosing a dog based on a need, right? Instead of like, I'm lonely and this is gonna fix it, or
we just had 2 kids and now we have the fence and the kids, and
it's
what
time
we're
to get a
supposed
dog
to do is get a dog,
right? Oh,
and
gosh.
then it becomes
or like if like I know my next dog as somebody who like lives alone and has a kid, right? Like I'm gonna go into that next decision if a dog usually finds us before we even have to go look for one. But like I know I like to have a little bit of a dog that is a little bit vigilant and I know that I can trust and look out for things, not like a pug, right? Like I would keep a pug around just because it's hilarious, but like, right, like maybe if we start kind of considering our lifestyle and thinking about dogs as serving as in a job role instead of like an accessory, like what job is this dog gonna do for me? Well, it's gonna be my companion. Well, then you probably need like a cuddled dog, not the 80-pound pit bull at the shelter that can't be walked on a leash.
Yeah.
Like,
I know a little forethought does a great thing. But also when problems with your dog will not just get better. They won't get better on their own. Now, that doesn't mean that you need us to come in or a trainer to come in, but what it means is you can't keep ignoring it and expecting it to get better.
Yeah.
Because it's not. It has to be addressed somehow, whether you decide you're going to change your routine or you're going to change your exercise or whatever. It has to be addressed somehow. It doesn't just get better on its own. And neutering does not make it better. That was a side note.
Oh, God. We're going to be here all day if we talk about that.
Goes, I'm just going to cut his balls off. I think that'll fix it. I'm like, I don't think so, sir.
Yeah.
But I wish you and your dog's balls the best.
Yeah. R.I.P. We had one really funny one lately in our office that she had. I don't even remember what kind of dog it was. It was a larger breed.
Oh, I remember that.
And she was like, I got him neutered really only because I just didn't like the way his balls looked. They were just so big and unsightly.
Yeah, she did say that.
Laughing.
He died. I'm like, well, that's one reason to do it.
I mean, yeah.
Whatever. He's not procreating. So
yeah.
So all of that to say, we are not shaming you. We are for rehoming if it's done appropriately and ethically. And our best advice is to find a friend or family member that can make it work. That's when it's the most successful. And do not leave a dog outside of an animal shelter tied up, and do not, just let it loose in the woods. We had a client did that once. We saw online afterwards that she just let it loose.
Oh yeah.
And then it showed up on a shelter website. And the reason we know it was that dog was because it's very, very distinct markings and different breed that's not super common.
Yep.
So please don't do any of those things. And if you're going to rehome and it's because of a behavior issue in your dog, then at minimum you need to consult with somebody professionally and get the behavior issues worked on so that the rehome might stand a chance to be successful.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
That was kind of a ranty episode. We didn't even talk about any birds.
We can talk about birds still.
I don't know. I think I'm good. I think I'm ready for a margarita.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Love 'Em and Lead 'Em. If you want to hear more, be sure to check us out every other week on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please be sure to follow us on Instagram at Dog Training Camp USA Louisville and check out our website at dogtrainingcamplouisville.com for more information on our training and other services. If you need help with your dog, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find our contact details in the show notes. We'll smell you later.